This is the 27th day of January, and it is the Trade, Commerce, and Tourism Committee. My name is Tom LaBonge. I'll be seated alone today. My colleagues have district business. Blaine, would you introduce yourself?
Blaine Sutton Wills with the CLA's office.
Good, and Blaine is now the CLA's representative for this committee. We welcome you, Blaine, a great graduate of UCLA and Cal State LA, and comes from New Orleans. So
exactly.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
What's number one, please?
Item number one, categorical exemption and Board of Airport Commissioners report relative to the proposed non-exclusive pipeline right-of-way license agreement with ExxonMobil Oil Corporation for an underground fuel pipeline and related service facilities at LAX.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Bill Kreitz with the CAO's office. The CAO's reviewed this, and we recommend approval primarily for four reasons. One, that it allows the continuation of the supply of Jet A fuel to LAX for commercial aircraft. It also continues competitive pricing for that Jet A fuel because of multiple suppliers. It provides approximately $270,000 in revenue to the department over the 5-year term of the agreement, and it allows the department to transition ExxonMobil from a month-to-month agreement to a fixed-term 5-year agreement. For those reasons, we recommend approval.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
For the record, just state your name and speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. Debbie Bowers, Deputy Executive Director of Commercial Development at Los Angeles World Airports, and we also recommend approval of this item.
Great. Do you know how much pipeline fees they pay the airport? They pay a fee. What's the fee?
We don't have fuel delivery fees at LAX for the commercial carriers. The FBOs do pay, and I don't know the number off the top of my head of what.
But is it like $5,000 or $500,000 or?
I really don't know.
Okay, I think we should find out because everybody's asking about what these fees are for everything. So I think just in the age of transparency.
Okay.
In the future, if you could just say that in the last 5 years, this company and other companies have executed, which have all gone back to the airport, because the important thing about the airport is all revenues that are garnered at the airport, stays at the airport.
Okay.
And then also the other thing, too, is the question that's going to come up is because of low fuel prices at Beverly Boulevard and St. Andrews, the 76 gas station, I think it was $2.33. Because jet fuel prices for jets going down, or do we know? And is it going to have any effect for the consumer? Just out of curiosity, because one of the days that question will come up.
Okay.
Going to recommend approval of council. You should be in council in case there's any questions in the future.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Approval. Next item, Blaine.
Item number two, categorical exemption and Board of Airport Commissioners report relative to the proposed second amendment to 4 existing rental car concession agreements at the Los Angeles, Ontario International Airport.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. Jim House from the City Administrative Office. The second item is an extension of 4 rental car concession agreements at Ontario Airport to February 28th, 2019. And basically it makes the agreements coterminous with some turnaround facilities that each of them have at that location.
Very good.
The airport also recommends it. It does make them coterminous with their maintenance facilities, and if we don't keep them as tenants, we have to do a major buyout of those facilities.
Got it. Okay, so this is good. Everybody's happy.
Yes.
They recommend approval. Next item.
Item number three, categorical exemption and Board of Airport Commissioners report relative to the proposed third amendments to 10 automobile rental concession agreements at LAX.
Good morning. Andrea Mills, CAO Office. The CAO Office recommends approval of this proposed third amendment for 10 rental concessions at LAX. These are executed, they were executed as sole source approvals because these are existing car rental. These proposed amendment will extend the term till January 31st, 2018. It will continue the approximately $70 million in annual revenue, and the extension will allow the department the necessary time to complete their new proposed consolidated rental car facility.
Good. And do you expect that that payment to build that new facility will come from the revenue that you get from this type of agreement?
We do
That-
expect the CFC.
Ms. Bowers, for the record only,
I'm
because,
sorry.
you ever see that movie? For the record, and they state their name 1,000 times.
Debbie Bowers,
Yeah.
Los Angeles World Airports. We do expect the CFCs to finance, do a major part of the financing for the consolidated
Right.
rental car facility.
Good.
We also may be looking at special facility bonds. We are studying the financing and the business agreement that we'll be putting together, which is one reason we need the time.
Very good. Okay, I have 2 cards here, and I'd like to hear from Gary Mcdonald and Rudy Sabornich.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Thank
It is
you.
always nice to be back before the TCT committee. A gentleman that you and I both love very much, the Honorable John Ferraro, the late great John Ferraro, as you remember, appointed me vice chair of this committee, and I was able to sit with him
Right.
on this committee for my entire tenure. And so it's nice to be back here at home.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to say that. And the other thing John said, if you got the votes, you don't need to speak.
Exactly.
Okay.
However, it's true.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time this morning. With me
Right.
this morning is Gary Mcdonald, president of Midway, and we're here this morning just to offer general comments. We do impose no objection for this going forward this morning, but there was an issue that we did want to bring to the committee's attention. These agreements are agreements that are 14 years old. These contracts have not been out to bid in almost 14 years. The gentleman who's sitting next to me will speak a few words. We don't oppose this going forward today because we know this is the first of a 2-part process. Coming before the commissioners and this committee within the next few months is going to be an opportunity for those who have not been able to participate being on-site rent-a-car companies to become on-site. The reason this had to come forward to you today is to make sure that the contracts that are expiring by the end of this month, we still have rent-a-cars services available, but then they're going to be opening up the process. We're hoping in the opening up of the process that we get to participate, because 14 years is a long time for no one to be able to come on site to the airport. With that said, we look forward to coming back to you in the next few months in order to be part of that process. And Mr. McDonald would like to introduce himself and have a few words as well.
Good. Minor addition, I want to say, you could say not just 14 years, but in this century, if you want to be more dramatic. Because I haven't seen you. Last time I saw you was in the last century, and you had hair. No, I'm kidding.
God has a sense of humor, Mr. Chairman.
He does, he does. Thank you. Very good. Mr. McDonald.
Yes, good morning. My name is Gary McDonald, and my company is Midway Car Rental. We're a Los Angeles-based company, and actually, Councilman LaBonge, we're in your district. We're at Wilshire and Highland is our general offices. So yes, we're here just to introduce ourselves. We're working with the airport, and they've been very cooperative, and we feel very assured that we're going to have an opportunity to be in the airport as an on-site provider, and hopefully within just a few months. And so we just wanted to, like as Rudy said, we don't have an objection to this. We
Right.
just want to make sure that we have an opportunity to come on site as it has been communicated to us.
Right. Can I just ask the staff to come forward? Thank you for your comment, both of you.
Okay. Thank you.
And Mr. LaBonge, before we go, we'd like to pay some thanks to staff, Ms. Bowers and Ms. Katnich and Mr. Martin over at the airport. They're really good, classy people, and they've been working with us real hard on this. And a lot of times, members of the committee don't know that, but the ladies who are here this morning in regards to the issues from LAWA, they're real good folks, and we thought you'd
I
want to know that.
appreciate it, and that's very nice to hear. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Bowers?
Thank you.
Just one other question. To assure that we open the net, the only example I could always say is in 1973 when Mayor Bradley came to this building, he opened the doors real wide for the great diversity that we now see, and that's a very key thing. I was on his youth council in 74 and 75, so that's just a value that I've always had of trying to have everybody in that. In this particular case here, do you going to be throwing a net out real wide for everyone?
Yes, we're opening up completely. We're calling it a full-service concessionaire. It'll have the exact same terms and conditions as the agreements that you're approving today. We hope to have that out next month. and we'll give it a little time for people to respond. We've had other people interested besides Midway, and we are planning on opening it up as far as people will respond and that we can approve.
Right. And let me just ask a technical question. If this is the intermodal rental car agency there, is it you cutting the piece of pie up? Does Enterprise have a piece of the pie? Does Dollar a Day, if they're still around, does Hertz, et cetera, and then Midway here would have a shot at a piece of the pie?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yes, and we're trying to open it all up so that
Yeah,
we're
thank
ready
you.
for the consolidated rental car.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Recommend approval. Next item.
Item number 4, Categorical Exemption and Board of Airport Commissioners Report relative to the proposed lease with Runway 25 Corporation for premises at 11022 Aviation Boulevard at LAX.
Chairman, my name is Jim House again from the City Administrative Office. Basically, the property at 11022 is operated by Runway 25 Corporation as the Proud Bird Restaurant, and it's been on a short-term lease for 13 months, which is expiring at the end of the month. The property, they went out to bid to actually seek proposals on development of the property, and the only proposer or the only bidder was Runway 25 Corporation. The property's in need of some repairs, and in return for a 20-year lease, they've agreed to expend $5 million within the 24 months of executing the lease.
And your commission, Ms. Bowers, why don't you give your report now? Thank you, CAO.
So we are very excited, and we are happy that it is the same operator that's going to keep the Proud Bird alive. We do expect them to invest a little over $5 million. They have to have, as proof and evidence that they are moving forward, they have to have the roof on within 24 months and the rest of it done within 36. So we do have some checks and balances to make sure that everything's moving along.
And this is the Proud Bird Restaurant, too?
Yes.
And that will remain?
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
This is good news.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Let me call the public speakers. William, I want to say it right, Teleshit? Teleshay. And then Rudy Sabornich. Okay. Thank you.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman. With me is Bill Talashay of the Proud Bird. This is a great day in the city of Los Angeles. We know you're very familiar with the restaurant. This has been a process by which not just a couple years ago the Proud Bird was going to close its doors, but based upon community support and everybody knowing that this is a very, very important part of the history of Los Angeles, aviation-themed restaurant with all of the memorabilia. The community came together. About a year ago, the Board of Airport Commissioners extended the lease for a year, did a competitive process. The Proud Bird came back as the sole bidder, won the process. They're committed to spend between $5 and $6 million to rebuild the restaurant and have something new, the new Proud Bird at the site. Probably in about a month, we're going to be having a celebration of hopefully this committee and council approving this and the mayor signing off. Most certainly would love to have you there, Mr. Chairman. As you know, the Proud Bird is what Los Angeles is all about. We asked for the committee's approval and council in a week, and Mr. Talashay would like to say a few things about his restaurant.
Thank you.
I'm William Talashay, Bill Talashay, our Director of Construction and Facilities for Specialty Restaurants. Ours is the company that owns Runway 25 Corporation that manages that property. On behalf of my family, on behalf of our entire corporation, we'd like to extend a great deal of gratitude and thank yous for the ability for us to continue doing business at that location. That was a very, very special restaurant to my father, David, who passed away about 8 years ago. But my dad was the guy that negotiated this original lease. It was my brother, John, who I think was instrumental, and I want to recognize him especially in bringing forward our effort, because my brother and our corporation about a year and a half ago had made a decision to close and walk away from the building. We didn't see any hope. So this is a really great thing for us. We've always seen a great potential in that business. It sits in a very affluent area, even though a lot of people say that that part of the west side is a little crummy. The closer to get to the airport, closer to get to the water, it's a really beautiful place for us to be. So again, once again, from all of my family and everyone at Specialty Restaurants, I want to thank you.
Thank you. And the parking, what was supposed, Ms. Bowers, could you come back up? Wasn't there some discussion of what was around there? What's happening around that property now?
Debbie Bowers with Los Angeles World Airports. It is adjacent to what we call Parking Lot E.
Which is not there yet, right? Or is it there?
Parking Lot E already exists.
Got it.
Okay, and we're using it right now for overflow parking for rental car facilities. And we also have an RV, the employee RV lot is right adjacent to the property.
At some time in the future, because there was a plan to take this building down and build something?
We've been studying quite a few things. One is moving our maintenance facilities over there. But whatever we do would be behind the Proud Bird, which is right on Aviation Boulevard.
Right.
So anything we would do would be behind it.
Absolutely, would be incorporated,
Yes.
but separate in a design way that would show separation and
Yes.
respect for this building that has hosted so many things. I was there on a Saturday morning. It was drizzling. I couldn't make whatever the event was. Forgive me for not remembering Saturday night, but this was in the last year when I learned from your staff that there was a threatened effort to remove it. I know I spoke to Mr. Bonin and Gina Marie and others, and I'm so happy to hear that this worked out because there's few things. They do have term limits in Los Angeles, but you shouldn't have a term limit for a great restaurant. And so it would be good to see that the Proud Bird, which has hosted so many family events that people remember, and then also in the days before, way before 9/11, we used to go out there and park on Aviation and see if we could touch the tires. You can't do that anymore, but I have memories too of Aviation. And then also the tragedy that took the life of firefighter Purnell years ago is some recognition for that as well is so important. So we're going to recommend approval. This is very good work by the Department of Airports to listen to community and understand there's a value and for a family that has been tied to that land and expressed so much, and so much history in aviation. Because there's nobody here from the port today, but Travel Town is our railroad museum in Griffith Park. And how that happened is there was a guy who was working in the park in that area, and he had a buddy who worked for the port. And this was after the war in the late 40s, early 50s, that he called, hey, all they're doing is just walking away from these locomotives. Why don't you take some and put them in the park? And so basically the fellow in the park called Charlie Atkins, who worked for the record parks in Griffith Park, and that's how that museum kind of started. But to have an aviation museum and all the other that goes with it is a positive. So I'm so happy to hear this is taking place, and good work, and hopefully when this all gets completed, we could find our way out there, out the Century Boulevard and go left at Aviation. I never went. Did you ever go right at Aviation?
Yeah.
Did you really? Did you go to that little place that was on the corner that's no longer there at Aviation and Century, Rudy? Is that why you weren't elected?
Well, Mr. Chairman, guilty as charged in a previous lifetime.
I'm just teasing.
Also, you need to know Ms. Bowers and her team, they did a great job on this.
Absolutely. Well, I think that we all want to do the right thing. Whatever it is, we want to do the right thing, try to find a way everybody win-win. So recommend approval. Want to thank our new legislative analysts and our clerk today. It's 9:04. Have a great day. When's the last time you've been to the top of City Hall? Yep. Oh, okay, all right, good. Okay, if you haven't been in a while, I'd say you could go up there, Rudy, and show them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.